我们注意到有关报道。
China opposes the U.S. deployment of mid-range capability missile systems in Asian countries, and has expressed concerns over this on multiple occasions. The deployment of Typhon, a strategic offensive weapon, will harm the legitimate security interests of other countries, threaten regional strategic security, and push up the risk of military confrontation and arms race. Trump's reported missile deployment plans in Asia are raising fears of a major confrontation with China as tensions over Taiwan continue to intensify. Beijing warned of rising risks of military confrontation after reports that the U.S. could deploy Typhon missile systems closer to Chinese territory. The Pacific is witnessing fresh tensions after China reacted sharply to Washington's reported plans to station advanced missile systems in Japan. China warned that not only Taiwan, but Japan too, could face the consequences of growing U.S. military deployments in the region. China has strongly opposed reported U.S. plans to deploy mid-range missile systems in Asia amid rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific. Beijing warned the move could destabilize the region and increase the risk of military confrontation, according to Reuters. China's foreign ministry also accused Washington of escalating military tensions close to Chinese territory as friction continues to grow over Taiwan and regional security. Question from Global Times. It's reported that the U.S. military is set to deploy its Typhon mid-range capability missile system in Japan's Kanoya Air Base in Kagoshima Prefecture during the U.S.-Japan military exercises scheduled between June and September. After the exercises conclude, the system will be transferred to a U.S. military base in Japan. Can I have your comment on this? We noted the reports. China opposes the U.S. deployment of mid-range capability missile systems in Asian countries, and has expressed concerns over this on multiple occasions. The deployment of Typhon, a strategic offensive weapon, will harm the legitimate security interests of other countries, threaten regional strategic security, and push up the risk of military confrontation and arms race. It will bring nothing but harm to peace and stability in the region. Over the years, people from multiple Asian countries, including Japan, have voiced their opposition to the deployment. China urges the U.S. and Japan to listen to the calls of regional countries, correct the erroneous practice, and play a positive role with concrete actions for regional peace and stability. This move is yet another example of Japan's accelerated remilitarization. Various signs show that Japanese right-wing forces are seeking to have an overall restructuring of Japan's military capabilities and preparing for a so-called extended conflict. This essentially will hollow out Japan's constitution and the rules of international and domestic laws, and challenge the post-war international order, which is inconsistent with Japan's self-claimed image as a country for peace. The malevolent emergence of Japanese neo-militarism may once again become a source of regional turbulence. The international community must keep in mind the lessons from history, stay on high alert, and jointly restrain this dangerous momentum. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Guo Jiaquan urged the United States and Japan to rectify their wrongdoings and avoid provoking confrontation in the region. His remarks came after reports that Washington plans to deploy the Typhon mid-range missile system in Japan between June and September. The deployment is expected to coincide with upcoming joint military exercises between the U.S. and Japan. Reports also suggest the Typhon system could later be stationed permanently at a U.S. military base in Japan. China sees the growing U.S. military buildup in Asia as part of Washington's broader strategy to contain Beijing's rise. The latest tensions come amid increasing Chinese military pressure around Taiwan and the Taiwan Strait. Beijing considers Taiwan part of China and has vowed to reunify the island with the mainland, by force if necessary. China has deployed the Liaoning carrier group into the Western Pacific for extended live-fire naval exercises far from the mainland coastline. According to the People's Liberation Army Navy, the drills included tactical flight operations, live-fire events, and search and rescue missions conducted in open waters. Chinese military analyst Zhang Junshi said the exercises would improve realistic combat capabilities, according to Defense Security Asia. Zhang added that the drills also served as a strong deterrent against what Beijing describes as Taiwan independence forces in the region. The carrier deployment is believed to be operating near the Philippine Sea and waters east of the Bashi Channel. Chinese officials stated that the exercises are not directed at any specific country and are being conducted in accordance with international law. The Liaoning entered service in 2012 as the PLA Navy's first fully operational aircraft carrier platform. It uses a ski jump-style flight deck configuration designed to support operations involving Shenyang J-15 fighter jets. The strike group includes guided missile destroyers, frigates, and embarked J-15 carrier fighters operating alongside the carrier. The deployment also includes rotary wing aviation units and long-range support operations to sustain missions at extended distances. Military analysts say the Liaoning is helping the PLA Navy develop a more integrated carrier strike group doctrine for future operations. Experts say Chinese operations east of Taiwan are intended to expand PLA Navy access to wider Pacific maritime routes. Military planners reportedly view waters east of Taiwan as strategically important in the event of any future regional conflict. China's growing naval presence is also increasing the complexity of defensive planning for Taiwan and its regional partners. The deployment is placing additional pressure on maritime routes frequently used by U.S. and Japanese naval forces operating in the Pacific. Analysts say China is gradually normalizing military operations around Taiwan through repeated aircraft carrier deployments and patrol missions. The live-fire element of the drills is also viewed as a shift toward more realistic preparation for high-intensity combat scenarios. Japan has increased monitoring of PLA Navy movements near Okinawa and the Ryukyu Islands. Analysts warn that increasing military activity in crowded Pacific waters raises the possibility of miscalculation or unintended incidents. China's expanding aircraft carrier operations are increasingly viewed as a challenge to long-standing U.S.-led naval dominance in the region. The latest deployment is also seen as part of China's transition from a coastal defense force into a broader global naval power. PLA Navy carrier groups are now operating farther from mainland logistical support than at any previous point in their development. Analysts say China's long-term objective is to build a navy capable of sustained operations across the wider Pacific theater. The exercises come amid heightened diplomatic activity in China, contributing to renewed concerns over tensions surrounding Taiwan. The United States has formally paused a $14 billion arms sale to Taiwan, even as tensions with China continue to soar in the Taiwan Strait and beyond. The update was delivered by the U.S. Navy's acting secretary, Hung Cao, during a Senate hearing on May 21st, putting the decision on the public record. Cao explained that the pause was intended to conserve munitions for America's ongoing war on Iran, arguing that U.S. forces must be fully equipped for current operations. Hung Cao said, and I quote, "Right now, we're doing a pause in order to make sure we have the munitions we need for Epic Fury, which we have plenty. But we're just making sure we have everything, but then the foreign military sales will continue when the administration deems necessary." End quote. Cao also stated that the decision to move forward with the Taiwan sale would ultimately be made by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. A senior analyst warned that the pause will likely exacerbate anxiety in Taiwan, where leaders already question how reliable U.S. backing will be in a crisis. The same analyst argued it will make it harder for Taipei to ask its own legislature for additional defense budget in future, because lawmakers will point to stalled U.S. deliveries. Meanwhile, Taiwanese Premier Cho Jung-tai told reporters that Taipei will continue to pursue arms purchases, insisting Taiwan has no choice but to keep strengthening its defenses. Trump confirmed that he discussed the proposed arms sale with Xi Jinping during their talks in Beijing, indicating that Taiwan featured directly in his negotiations with China's leader. After that meeting, Trump publicly stated that he may or may not approve the package, leaving the fate of the deal deliberately ambiguous. The U.S. president was also expected to speak with his Taiwanese counterpart about the sale, a conversation that could shape Taipei's expectations and strategy. If it eventually goes ahead, the $14 billion weapons package would be the largest single arms transfer to Taiwan in U.S. history. The U.S. Congress approved the package back in January 2026, but under American law the sale still requires a final sign-off from the president to move forward. Previously, in December 2025, Trump had approved an $11 billion arms package for Taiwan, underscoring how dramatic a shift this latest pause appears to be. Trump's public hint that he might call Taiwan's President Lai now puts immediate pressure on Beijing's long-stated red line, barely a week after his supposed reset summit with Xi. On May 21st, China reiterated that it firmly opposes any form of official U.S. contact with Taiwan's leadership, repeating a position that underpins its entire approach to the island. China's foreign ministry urged Washington to implement what it called the heads of state consensus reached in Beijing, implying that a Trump-like call would violate understandings from the summit. Officials called on the United States to handle the Taiwan issue with prudence and to show that caution through concrete actions, not just reassuring words. Beijing warned that any direct Trump-like conversation would cross a red line and could undo the limited progress made in de-escalating tensions at the recent leaders' meeting.